If you have to travel for work or you have an upcoming sporting event, I want to walk through a two-part series. I want to walk through a couple things that you can do very easily to make sure that you get the most out of your performance and or what you have to do for work. Let's take a look at this. You've put a lot of time and effort into this presentation. You've put a lot of time and effort into this sporting event. I want to make sure that you're there and able to perform to your fullest potential, both mentally and physically. Unfortunately, when we travel, we underestimate how stressful traveling is. I always find this fascinating with the professional athletes that I work with. We have the Garmin device that we utilize where we look at their stress on a per hour basis. We actually break it down to the minute, but for the sake of this video, we break it down on an hourly basis. And you can literally see when somebody gets into a mode of travel, whether it's by literally plane, train, or automobile, their stress average goes up. It's just nature of the beast. So with that being said, I want you to think about what can you do to get to your destination and be ready to perform to your ultimate level. When you get to your destination, I want you to be thinking about how did you get there? That's where this video, it's like I say, it's video one of a two-part series. I want you to always think about what is it that you need to do before you start traveling. First and foremost, what I want you to do is 2 days before you start traveling, I want you to start taking Echinacea and golden seal. It's a natural herb that you can pick up at your grocery store. For those of you in Europe, you refer to them as the chemist. It's just a natural herb that literally will kill any microbes from the inside out. I refer to it as Pac-Man. It will literally start killing anything that you may have ingested. The second resource that I want you to utilize is the Nettie Pot. If you're not familiar with the Nettie Pot, it's a little round, literally looks like an old-fashioned teapot. You're going to mix warm water and you're going to mix some salt into it and make salt water. What the salt water is going to do is going to create a little bit of coarseness, and the velocity and density of the water, you're going to pour that water into one nostril. I would suggest you do it in the shower. Lean over and let the gravity pull through one nostril and out the other. Now, if you're starting this a couple days before you travel, hopefully you don't have any mucus being produced. Not trying to be graphic here, but your body produces mucus in an attempt to try to grab the microbe versus letting it get into your system. That's why it's imperative that you make sure that you blow your nose when you find your sinuses impacted. If you swallow it, unfortunately, you're swallowing the microbe. That's going to disrupt your GI tract and you'll end up with loose bowels. So now think about this. You're eating any bacteria up from the inside out. You're flushing anything out of your sinuses, out of your system. And that's going to at least set your body up to be able to get to your destination, killing any internal microbe. Because you have to remember, unfortunately, if you get under the attack of a microbe, you only have one gas tank of energy. We want to make sure that your body is ready to give that presentation. We want to make sure your body is ready to perform optimally at an athletic level. Those are two of the three in this first video that I want to talk about when it comes to traveling. The third component is, remember, we're talking about getting ready to travel, is let me back the train up for a moment. I want you to start the Echinacea 2 days before, and I want you to start doing the Nettie Pot the day before. And I want you to take the Echinacea until you're home for 2 days, and then I want you to do the Nettie Pot for a day after you're done traveling. What you're doing is a little bit of an insurance program at the beginning, and then you're just making sure that your body doesn't get attacked by a virus at the end of your trip. The third variable I would suggest, and I know they're not the most attractive, is compression socks. There is a legitimate science behind the compression socks. There's a multitude of great companies that are out there. One of our divisions is our endurance division, and good companies like 2XU, CompuSport. There's a multitude of companies that are out there. They're not just indigenous to the endurance world, but I want you to know that there is a science to compression socks. Think about when you're in a seated position. You have a 90-degree bend at your ankle, a 90-degree bend at your knee, and then a 90-degree bend at your torso to femur. So especially when you're in an airplane at altitude, you've got to, even though you're obviously you're in a vessel that's been pressurized, you still have gravitational pull. So you have to recognize, if you flip your arm over and you look, you'll notice that you have blue veins on the bottom of your arm. Anything that's blue is a vein, and that is unoxygenated blood coming back to the heart. Now, no pun intended, zoom out to 30,000 feet, we're trying to facilitate the body's ability to get from the bottom of your ankles all that blood flow back to the heart, offsetting gravitational pull. That's where the compression socks come in. Now, I get this question quite often: how long? Whatever you're comfortable with. Some compression socks, you can buy compression sets that literally are just from the knees down, like regular tube socks. You can buy some that wear like cycling tights that come all the way up to your belly button. What I was going to say is they can tend to be a little bit warm, so try them out. See, where's your temperament with them? It's always, a catch-22. Sometimes we get on the plane's extremely cold. Sometimes it is extremely warm. If you're traveling in a vehicle, obviously you can control it. It's much easier. Now, I do want to clarify, even if you're driving in a car, you want to be in compression socks because of the 3 90-degree bends. Not just if you're at altitude, I would recommend compression socks. Anytime you're in a seated position, I say as a general rule of thumb, if you're over 2 hours, you're going to benefit from compression socks, no matter what form of transportation you're doing. If logistically possible, get your feet above your head. And what that's going to do is, again, gravity is going to pull the venous blood flow back to the heart. And what you're doing is you're just trying to reduce the overall stress on the body during your travels. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is video 1 of a 2-part series on how to travel and get to your destination as fresh as you can possibly be. If I happen to stir up any questions, I want to encourage you to please reach out to me. contact@coachrob.com. This video is a byproduct of emails that have come in from you guys asking, how do I get to my destination offsetting the stress of traveling? How do I get to my destination and not get run down and get sick? These are wonderful questions, and I can't thank you enough. The number of questions that have come in are just literally blowing my mind, and I'm forever grateful. My point for giving you all of that is, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't turned on the notifications, I would deeply appreciate if you would do so, because we put out a video every day here on YouTube answering your questions, and I just want to make sure that you're subscribed, notifications are on. If you could hit that thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it, because it does help our logarithm, and we hope that you'll share this with your friends and families and traveling partners, business partners. So hopefully we can make a difference in getting you guys there a little bit more competitive and a little bit ready. A little bit more ready, if I may say so. So thanks again for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.